What up, what up, what up? What's going on, everybody? It's me, your boy Ryan, aka Clutch Sports Talk in the house. If you haven't heard, LaMarcus Aldridge signed with the Brooklyn Nets. Yes, you heard that right. Another former All-Star NBA basketball player has signed on with the Brooklyn Nets to basically try to win this championship this year. But before I get into the video, make sure you hit and subscribe to my channel right now, man. It'll be the best decision you ever made. So, hey, let's get into it. Let's go. So most of us yesterday, we were just basically minding our own business until we got notifications that LaMarcus Aldridge signed with a new team. Now, before we actually read the complete message or heard anything, we were like, well, where did he sign? You know, Lakers were in the mix. I heard the Knicks and a few other teams, including the Nets. But once we all looked down on our phones or TV screens or whatever media that we were looking on, and we saw that he signed with the Brooklyn Nets, it was like, oh my God. What are the Brooklyn Nets doing out there? I feel like they're Thanos and they're out there getting Infinity Stones right now to go ahead and basically end the game by winning the NBA championship with the collection of players that they have now. But, you know, there are a few things that I do want to point out actually before I'm actually going to consider giving them the championship right now. I will say, and I have to admit, they do have a pretty stacked roster at this point. You know, obviously they included James Harden, you know, during the season in an early season trade from the Houston Rockets. And then they also picked up Blake Griffin and now LaMarcus Aldridge. And there are reports that maybe DeMarcus Cousins might want to join the fray. It seems like now everyone is getting on this ship to try to win a championship. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but right now on paper, the Brooklyn Nets to me are my favorite to win the NBA championship. But there are some drawbacks that I do want to point out. First and foremost, LaMarcus Aldridge is a great player. He's a great scoring player, but he still does not provide a defense that skill that the Brooklyn Nets actually need. Now, most of us have always said, and I've been on record saying that the Brooklyn Nets need to play defense in order to win a championship. The method that they're going about trying to just get talented offensive players to just outscore you, I think, you know, they'll win a lot of games, obviously, but when you get into the playoffs is a whole nother scenario. Now, they will have the firepower because right now they have the firepower. KD, Kyrie have missed a lot of games this season due to, you know, several issues and maybe injuries that have occurred. But James Harden has definitely picked up the slack. And that's why it was very important that they actually did pick up James Harden, because they probably had an inkling that Kyrie wouldn't play a lot, and KD's still coming off of an Achilles injury, and now I believe he has a hamstring injury. They want to take it slow, but now they're adding other solid guys. Now, Blake Griffin, on the other hand, okay, I get it. He isn't the same Blake Griffin from Lob City back in his Clipper days, but he can still go out there and get you 10 and 15 points maybe, you know, every other night, but I don't expect him to be the guy that he once was. LaMarcus Aldridge has always been a guy that, you know, he played in Portland for so many years, you know, up in the Northwest, kind of in obscurity. And now he went down to San Antonio, another team that really doesn't really showcase their best players. And that's why they end up leaving, you know, guys like Kawhi Leonard. So now LaMarcus Aldridge joins a team with, you know, pretty solid centers in DeAndre Jordan and Jarrett Allen. But, you know, like I said, he's not there to play defense. He's there to score in the post. And now if they add a guy like DeMarcus Cousins, who's also creative down low in the post, the Brooklyn Nets are going to be a tough matchup. Now, what does that mean for the other teams in the NBA? And when I say other teams, I mean actual real legitimate teams that actually are looking to compete for a championship. Some teams are pretty cute, I'll say that, you know, but there are only a few select teams that I think can actually make a run at them, perhaps. You know, first team that comes to mind, the Utah Jazz, Phoenix Sun, the Milwaukee Bucks, and maybe the Philadelphia 76ers, and then lastly, the Los Angeles Lakers. But before I get into that, I wanted to say this is a championship or bust season now for the Brooklyn Nets. They have pushed all their chips into the middle of the fray, and they are ready and willing to go out and win this championship. Now, like I said, what does it mean for the other teams? I look at the Utah Jazz. They're one of the top-rated defensive teams. They have a great defensive player in Rudy Gobert, and then Donovan Mitchell is not too bad himself. But other than that, they play a more team-style defense, but they don't really have enough guys to match up for everybody on the Brooklyn Nets. Rudy Gobert is only one man. I mean, he's only one man. So you look at teams like the Phoenix Suns, you know, Ayton, the center down there for Phoenix, you know, he's a shot blocker. I don't know if he can match up well down there as well, too. And they don't really have the wing players, I per se, that can actually guard guys like Kevin Durant and James Harden in a 7-game series if they were able to meet in the NBA Finals. Philadelphia 76ers, yes, they do have Ben Simmons, who is a beast on the defensive side of the ball, but I don't know if they'll have enough offense to compete with the Brooklyn Nets at this point in the game. You know, Joel Embiid, you always got to consider his health and what's going on with him. He's currently out right now due to a leg injury. And then you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, another team that plays pretty stout team defense. They got guys like Giannis, who's really athletic, who can guard from basically the 1 position to the 5 position. But again, it's going to come down who's going to step up for Milwaukee other than Giannis, because teams are going to take Giannis away, right? I mean, Chris Middleton, nice player, but he kind of hasn't really been a playoff monster or beast in his last appearances in the playoffs. So look at the Los Angeles Lakers. Again, injuries have riddled this team, especially with their 2 main superstars. LeBron and AD right now are currently injured. Do the Lakers have what it takes? Yes, if they have their 2 superstars ready to go, because arguably they're the one of the out of those 2 players, actually both of those 2 players, they're top 5 players in their respective positions, if not the best players overall. So with the Brooklyn Nets, though, like I said before, it's all or nothing. They are gearing up. They don't care. They're looking to get back into prominence into the NBA by all these moves that they have been making. And I don't blame them. It's a smart deal. You're signing guys basically on a 1-year rental instead of trading up assets. Now, I don't know how the defensive side will work, because will they still have good enough defense to win a championship? I don't know. That remains to be seen. But at the end of the day, they're going to outscore you, and that's what they're going to go out there to do every single night. And we don't know how they're going to play in the playoffs when all these guys get together. There's a lot of chemistry, a lot of team building that needs to occur. So I'm not going to go out and say, yes, they're going to win a championship, but there's a high probability they're going to be there in the finals for sure, and they're going to get a crack at this title. But I don't know how it's going to turn out, because we've seen in the past teams that come together like this, they usually take time to gel. A lot of people just think guys can come out there and start playing well together. Yes, these guys are talented NBA players, superstars, hell, even all-stars, even Hall of Fame type players. But you still need chemistry as a team. It's not an individual sport. I'd have to see them play a few games, at least 10 to 15 more games, to see exactly how everything's going to work out. Because at the end of the day, it's only one ball. And LaMarcus Aldridge is probably used to touching the ball several times in a game. Now, is he going to get those touches, especially when guys like KD and Kyrie are back in the lineup on a full-time basis? So I'm not going to crown them yet, but I will say the Brooklyn Nets are definitely on their way to winning another not a national championship. What am I talking about? An NBA championship, bringing back, the prominence of the good old days with the Brooklyn Nets. So we'll just have to wait out and see. But I hope you guys liked this video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Again, like and comment down below, and catch up on everything Clutch Sports Talk related. Until next time, everybody, this is Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. Let's go.